Even when they're not used, damp and musty basements affect your upstairs living space more than you can imagine. Mold and allergens can affect not only your living space, but your family's health as well. Dan Fitzgerald, Director of Marketing at Larry Janeski's Connecticut Basement Systems, is here to talk about how a drier basement could make a healthier home. Thanks for being here.
Oh, you're welcome.
Give us an overview first of Larry Janeski's Connecticut Basement Systems. I know you've coined the term all things basementy.
Right. Well, yeah, we're a lot more than simply a basement waterproofing company, and that's kind of been the perception over the years. We do basement finishing and foundation repair and crawl space repair, as well as dealing with moisture in basements.
That's a big problem. But before we get to that, let's talk a little bit about Larry. What's new with him?
Well, Larry has won another award.
Good for him.
This one, it's tremendous, and we're very proud. The Small Business Administration, so government agency, gave him this year, just recently, the Small Business Person of the Year award.
Wow.
So he's going to be representing entrepreneurs for the state of Connecticut and Washington.
That's great. Congratulations to him. All right, let's get to some of these problems here.
Okay.
Basements and crawl spaces that are damp and musty. Why does this happen?
Well, you don't have to have a flood to have problems in your basement.
Okay.
And in some instances, moisture and high humidity can be worse than standing water on the floor. We're taught in school that heat rises, and we don't think necessarily that that's what's happening to the air in our house, but it really is. 50% of the air that we breathe upstairs is actually coming from the basement or crawl space.
Oh, wow.
So, when we open that basement door, and especially in the summer, we start down those stairs and we get hit
it's true,
with
yeah.
this musty, moldy, nasty smells, and it's the high humidity, and we don't even want to go down there.
Got it.
Well, what's happening is there's a disparity in temperature between what's happening outside in the ground. So below grade in a basement or a crawl space, you might have 50, 55 degree air. And then outside in the summer, we've got, 90 degree
Sure.
plus. So condensation occurs.
Okay.
And that creates these issues, mold and problems down there.
Well, what can be done to lower the high humidity in a basement or the crawl spaces? I have a feeling this might have something to do with it.
Well, yes, absolutely. Typically what we do is if there's a groundwater problem, we'll solve that groundwater and we'll drain the water away. But if there's not a groundwater problem, if it's simple condensation and high humidity level down there, it still is going to ruin anything that we store down there.
Got it.
So
whether the basement's finished or not.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Even if you're just going down there to do laundry, you don't want to be doing that. You're doing clean clothes down there, and you're in an environment that's mold is growing.
Sure.
So it's not good. So yes, I brought this today to give you an idea of what one of the solutions are to these kind of problems. This is a SaniDry XP. It's a basement air system. And basically, it's the equivalent of 4 typical dehumidifiers in one.
Okay.
But it only uses the energy of one, so it's
wow.
a high-efficient unit. So what this does is it will remove the moisture out of the air to whatever you control. Like when you control your heat, you set your heat in the winter to a certain temperature, and it controls it to that level. This does the same thing with moisture.
Okay.
So in addition to that, it also will filter the air. So one of the biggest indoor allergens is dust mites and dust mite droppings. Well, this will actually filter those particles out of the air as well as lower the moisture.
I see.
Now, mold has to have 60% relative humidity to grow. So there's mold spores everywhere. Mm-hmm. So when we lower that humidity in that environment to below 50%, then mold is not growing on our materials. We lower the smells, we get rid of the particles. And one more point I wanted to make as far as dehumidification goes. A typical dehumidifier, you've got to empty it.
Right? I was going to ask, do you have to empty something like this?
Yeah, no, that's the difference, and that's a problem. Most people, they think that they're emptying.
If you don't empty it either, it's not working.
Exactly, and you never can keep up with that. It's one of those things that you think you got it, but you don't. What happens here is that there's a hose on this side. If you can see this, and I've put a little glass bowl down here to collect the water. We've been running this for about a half an hour, and it's filling this bowl up even in this environment. So we're lowering the humidity in the studio.
Great.
So that's what happens is this hose, this tube, will run to a drain.
Got it.
So if you've got one of our systems, it runs to the sump pump. If you don't, it can run to a washing machine outlet. If there's nothing to drain it to, we can use a condensate pump, and that pumps it up and out.
As long as you don't have to empty it, you've made it easy.
Yeah, it takes care of itself, and that will change the air quality in the basement. Now, every basement needs dehumidification.
All right, Dan, we're just about out of time, but of course, for more information on Larry Janeski's Connecticut Basement Systems, visit basementsystems.com. You can see it right on your screen. Very good, all things basement-y.
That's it. Thanks, Teresa.
All right.